Hello, fellow robots out there in internet land. I am Sobertron, and welcome to the next episode of Titancraft Season 6 here on Tangotech's Patreon server, Titancraft. And if you guys want to join me on this amazing 100% pay-to-play server, all you gotta do is click down in the description, link to Tangotech's Patreon page. So guys, I've been very, very busy. Very, very busy doing lots of things since last episode. Mostly doing two things, and that first thing is digging. I have been at our little wither skeleton platform digging to my heart's content. I have now completely dug out this little southwest quadrant here, all the way to the extent which we need to get to, which is probably bigger than we need, but it encompasses 128 blocks beyond this platform. You can see these little scaffolding-ish bits I've done out to kind of determine things. So I've done this whole section mostly by myself. Kash and Bakoshi helped me with a lot of this stuff over here. DJ's been mostly working over there, but then I slowly transitioned kind of to this northern edge. And I'm very glad I did, because you can see there's a lot of little just places where things can spawn over here. We still have quite a bit to do in the east, but that's mostly caves and things. This is a lot of overhang stuff that really should probably go for it first. So I'm very, very glad that I kind of transitioned this way around. But I'm kind of at a stop right now. I can't dig anymore. I absolutely can't dig anymore. And that's because I have no more picks. All of our picks are gone. I've been doing this quite a bit. Let me tell you this first. I have this resource pack called Pink Pick that we have been using for years now. It started off in 1.12, I think, and then it got upgraded in 1.14. But yeah, it absolutely makes every pick pink, like hence the name Pink Pick. And you can see when you're digging with this thing, you know when it's ready to repair. Once it gets below 40 durability, it turns to this kind of pink-ish stained glass texture. And yeah, I have no more picks. They're all gone. But luckily, the other thing I've been doing is going to help that. So I'm gonna grab, what is that, 54, 5, that's about 10. Let's grab that one too. I and myself and my friends have been AFKing over at our cactus farm to get all of those amazing furnaces fully filled, and that is now done. 100% done. So I'm gonna go over there, and I will see you in a moment. I have made it back to our soon-to-be, hopefully, mountain base once I, build a mountain above all of the shenanigans. And we're finally ready to use our furnace in mass. Thus far, no one's used it, so it's great. So everything's done. You can even possibly hear, I have a composter right back here doing its thing. All the excess cactus is coming down here, making the bone meal. So that's great. So let's get all set up. Let's take our sign down, because we are now ready to use our furnace room. Who used my furnace? People can't read signs, obviously. These, I blame, who should I blame? I don't think it was DJ. DJ's been doing a lot of trading. Sham. It's always Sham's fault. That guy just doesn't listen, ever. It's a little upsetting. But it's fine. We got lots of picks to repair, so that's what matters. Armor off. Let's grab all of these bad boys up. I need to do this considerably, for a very long time. This is going to take a few minutes. But, pull item out, repair pick, push button. Redstone magic happens. Nexus is amazing. And we just got to keep doing this for a while. The other thing I need to do... Did I do... Oh, good. I was scared for a second that I didn't switch picks. Right before I started recording today's episode, I received our second shipment of kelp, which is great, because that's going to last us a little bit longer. But I'm realizing, even though I ordered 50 shulkers of this stuff, it's not really going to fill our furnace all that much. It's only going to put in... I think it ended up being 4 stacks per furnace for every 10 shulkers we have, so that's 40 stacks. So it should be enough to fill it one time, but that's not going to be sustainable for the entire season. And we have lots of plans for what we need this experience for that we are not ready to reveal yet. So today we're going to do two things. We're going to build a kelp farm. We are absolutely going to build a kelp farm, and it's going to go right underneath us. I have a design that we've used in the past. It's actually an Ilmango design, but we slightly modified it. And then we're going to use a special furnace, blast furnace, smokers are things, to cook all this kelp up. And the perfect timing. The reason I want to use that method is because I need kelp for other things too in the future. So we're gonna do that. We are absolutely gonna make some kelp today, and then we're gonna do a storage of some kind because I am done using Sham's temporary setup. But obviously, I need to go because the server's about to restart. So I will see you guys once I repair the rest of these picks and I refill, all that kelp inside these bad boys. So I have been very, very busy. So busy that all of our furnaces are now ready to go again. Did not intend for this to happen. TPS was actually working pretty nice today, so this didn't take too long to do. I have dug a big hole. Now, this is a temporary entrance, guys. We have this little kind of pillar thing in the middle here. I'm using it as a makeshift storage and as a way to get down into our soon-to-be kelp farm. So yes, I have dug a very, very big hole, probably deeper than I needed to. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I didn't feel like doing math. But I've got the basic layout of everything, plus some of the redstone complete. So this is an Ilmango design. Very, really cool, awesome, and amazing. Basically, what I'm going to do initially is hook up these wires to some daylight sensors. And it looks like I missed a few. There we go. So this is going to get hooked up to a daylight sensor. Now, what's going to happen is this flying machine is going to move. It's going to harvest kelp where that sand is, and once it reaches the far end, it's going to trigger that other one to come back, which is what these two redstone lines do. I don't think Ilmango actually kind of covered this in his video. I think DJ actually designed this on our private server, and it works amazingly. So basically, regardless of which flying machine is in the docking station, it's going to go down that way, and then regardless of which one's down there, it's going to come back. So it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to add two of these. So we've got this first one pretty much done. Just need to add in the water, which is why I have ice somewhere. Yeah, there's the ice. Because last time we did this with buckets, and I greatly regretted it. It was horrible. I did not like it. But we only have it go up about 10 blocks, and then we will have a second level, and then right above that is going to be our kind of smoker array. And actually, one of the staff members on this server designed this last season, and I just totally ganked it, and it works great. Timing-wise, it does things beautifully. It's really amazing. But I have to do a lot of ice placement, and a lot of kelp placement, and a lot of glass placement. I decided to go with cyan. I haven't used it yet, and cyan's one of my favorite colors. Now, eventually, I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it today, I'm going to do some kind of decorative thing on the outside here, because once we have that smoker up top, I want to have a glass floor in there, because I like looking down in these projects. What's the point of having it hidden, behind some stone walls? You spend all this time and effort building these things, might as well show them off. But in order to do that, you kind of want them to look pretty and not stone and various other blocks against the walls. So I will end up decorating it at some point. I just don't know when that's going to happen. But really, don't care right now. I just need this functional. I need more kelp. Kelp, kelp, kelp. All day long. So I'm going to finish up in here doing this first level. When I get back, we'll be back up top. Both levels are going to be done. I'm going to be at our smoker array. Or at least get the initial workings of it going, just so I can show you guys how all this stuff is going to end up working. Because this is just a lot of glass. And I've shown you this once, there's no reason to show you it again. So, through the magic of video editing, here we go. Kelp tanks are now complete, and it's bigger than I envisioned. I was going to go with 2 layers, but we've got a third, because we had enough room, because I dug the hole too big, like I talked about earlier. And I hate placing signs. It's so annoying. I wish there was a command or a button you can push to say, I don't want a text on sign. I just want to place a sign and place a sign against it. And but that's neither here nor there. But signs are in, kelp's in. It's been growing for a while now, because this took a hot minute, and so has this, actually. Despite it being relatively simple, I just was doing a bunch of other things and didn't have a lot of time to play, so this took a bit. It's a really great design by one of the staff members, Larandu. It uses 16 smokers, and then yeah, it's pretty basic, but the way he's got it broken out is it's got like perfect timing for everything. Like, you don't waste fuel, everything gets distributed evenly. It's great. It's fantastic. Couple minor modifications that we make based off his original design, which is adding in a bunch of excess storage, and eventually this is going to be hooked up to probably a lever to actually click off those droppers so that they go into a water stream, and eventually what's going to happen is it's going to come, fall above our heads, and land on this weighted pressure plate for us to stand here and craft up everything, throw it into a water stream that's going to take it somewhere else. The weighted pressure plate is here so that the kelp will actually land on that, and if for some reason you AFK and walk away as the system's running, that's like going to do an auto shut off, because there's probably going to be a lever somewhere over here. But honestly, all of this might change, because what I don't think is that we have enough storage in the back here uh, for all the kelp that's about to come. I think we're going to end up with something like 13 double chests of kelp when we harvest this thing, and we've only got 9 in storage here. Once I hit the button over there, all the kelp is going to go up a bubble vader, come around, and it's going to end up in this circular water stream up top here. And I think a lot of it's going to end up despawning, simply because it's just going to take too long. So I'm probably going to have to build a second one of these right over here, which is why there's nothing decorated right now, and a bunch of this redstone isn't hooked up, because I honestly don't know if it's big enough. So we're gonna push the button. This is also all temporary. Hopefully everything goes. Yep, there goes 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so I'm gonna let this run for a minute. Hopefully none of this despawns, but I know it's gonna. So I'll be back with some results and maybe even a second machine over there. 5 days, guys. 5 whole days. 5 whole days since my last recording. Just because I felt like digging in the nether a lot, so I did that instead of designing things. But the other day, I think yesterday, Cash and I came together and we designed some things, and we built a really cool, at least I think it's cool, looking room. But we got a tunnel first. Tunnel looks great. Caableguy, if you're not following Caableguy on YouTube and Twitch, you absolutely need to be doing it. He's the best builder I know, and he came by and he did the initial like diagram of this room, just getting the curve right, and then I came back through and just went crazy with blackstone and basalt. This is what I wanted to do for our furnace XP room, but you can see it wouldn't have achieved the same effect. That other tunnel's like 20 blocks long. This is much longer. But enough about tunnels. Let's talk about our new room, and I think it looks so good, so good. I even think like this little design here looks like a mini furnace, even though we're using smokers back there. I don't know how it turned out that way, because it's 3 wide and shenanigans. We weren't able to get a look into the kelp farm, so I decided to add in these little kelp viewing windows. That way you knew exactly what this room was for, and I think it turned out really well. Cash initially started using these warped wood warp things, words. And then we just went from there. Like, we just started doing stuff and things. I added the basalt in the background because I think it just adds that little bit of gray. It looks really, really good in here. I'm loving it. But let's talk a little bit about this. I know I covered it briefly, but I wanted to explain it a bit better. And I did build a second one because one was absolutely not enough for a full harvest. Those items were just circling around up top, and they were going to despawn eventually, and I don't want that. So we got 2 of these bad boys now. What's going to happen? Kelp is going to input into a water stream up here, and it's just going to keep on looping around until it's sucked up by a hopper. It'll eventually make its way into this double chest right here, which will feed our hopper minecart. Now, when that hopper minecart is full, redstone magic happens, this piston retracts, and our hopper minecart goes on its merry way. This detector rail is probably the most crucial aspect of this thing. As you can see, as soon as it passed over, the comparator saw items were still in there, and it triggered this rail to turn, so it kept looping around. Now, once it's empty, which we may or may not see, that will not happen, and it'll go back into the input system to get filled back up again. When our kelp is cooked in our smokers, which are so much better than furnaces for this because it does it twice as fast, they end up in these droppers down here with some redstone and repeaters that's controlled by this observer clock here. And that is triggered by this one simple lever right there. So once you flip that, that piston extends and clock happens and droppers fire into water streams up the bubble vader in the back. Now all the kelp comes down right through that hole right there, and it'll eventually land on this weighted pressure plate, which is absolutely there for a reason. Let's say you're standing here crafting your kelp blocks and you have to walk away for a few minutes, then you forget to turn the lever off. The kelp will just keep building up and building up and building up, but once it reaches a certain amount, it'll trigger some redstone to auto shut off that piston in the back, which is great. There's been many times where I've walked away for a few minutes and forgot to shut off this farm in other servers, and this pressure plate saved so much kelp. Invaluable. Absolutely needed. But, yeah, kelp farm done. I need to replace those blocks, though. Remind me to do that. Not that no one's going to remind me to do that. I know you guys won't. It's fine, though. Don't worry about it. But, yeah, kelp farm done. The one thing, once we're crafting here, items go into that water stream, and they end up going up a bubble vader directly into our furnace XP farm. But the one, ooh, come on, rockets. The one thing, come on, rockets. There we go. The one thing I haven't hooked up yet is the overflow for all those kelp blocks that are going to come out. No, they come out over here, but currently there's nowhere to put them. And I'm not too concerned about it right now because it's going to take a while to fill the system. But that's what this storage room is for. So eventually all that stuff's going to end up here, but let me talk a bit about other things in this room. So this is going to be our main entrance. We're going to have some bubble raiders that go up to the very tippy top eventually. Once I get the lava bowl in, we'll absolutely need that. But this room is going to be manually sorted things. I don't plan on having a lot of craziness, like random blocks, essentially. Think of it, the blocks that I kind of want to keep, but don't really have a need for. So, going to have tons of storage in here for that. But I have these 4 wings off to the side, and those are going to lead into other rooms. So, this one is going to be bulk storage for our sugarcane and our gunpowder. Everything's going to come up above a bubble vader, and then it's going to enter some lines with filters, that's the word, filters, and get stored here. And then same thing over here. I'm going to have all the kelp blocks exit the system up top, and they're going to end up being stored here in bulk. That way I can not have to craft as often. You know, that way I have somewhere to store the excess, and I can just throw them into another water stream that's going to be somewhere in here, and it's going to loop back up to the bubble raiders back there and send it back through the system. I'm also going to do the same thing with cactus. I am very low on cactus right now. I've been running these furnaces pretty much constantly because I've been digging a lot. So I want to have a bit of bulk storage for cactus and not just compost it right away. But the excess cactus, once these chests in the future are here, is going to end up into some kind of composter array, as well as our sugarcane. I'm not sure where it's going to go yet, but we're going to have bone meal for days. On this northern wall, I'm going to have all the nether blocks, the basalt, the blackstone, all that stuff, bulk storage again. Just because I have a ton of it already in the nether, and I need someplace to put it. Back here, though, I may not get to today. I may get into it after this episode just to get it done. I'm going to have a control room in here. I want to be able to turn off the sugarcane, turn off the gunpowder farm, and even manually trigger our flying machines. Right now, I've been manually triggering them from over there, and I want to be able to just hit a button and do it. I haven't hooked up the daylight sensors yet, just because I have a really bad fear of flying machines breaking in those tanks, and I don't want that to happen. So, not hooked up yet. I want to wait until TPS gets a little bit better and our server restarts are less frequent. So yeah, I have a lot to do. Lots of stuff to do, lots of chests, lots of redstone, hoppers, all the things. All the things need to happen in here. But yeah, hopefully when I get back, I've got most of this stuff done, and then I can come in after that and show you guys the final product. So our really big hole in the ground suddenly has a lot less room in it. A ton less room. I really didn't think it was going to take that much, but yeah, it's fine. I have no other plans for down here. This is kind of the last thing we need to put in place before we kind of tackle some stuff up top. But let me talk about what I did in here. I just wanted to play around with basalt a little bit more. At first, when this update came out, I wasn't a big fan of the block, so I thought I'd try some things. And floor, I love this floor. The way I place these polished basalt blocks sideways, it creates these darker rings around some of these and not around others. And I honestly, happy accident happened, and I think it turned out really well. This room doesn't really fit into the lore that I'm going with of our base. Like, it's like a dwarven mountain with all this amazingness happening. But that's fine because this is kind of still underneath the main level of our base. It's going to be underneath the lava bowl. And so it's really for me. It's for the player. So I wanted something that looked cool. And I just wanted to, have fun and play around. So more basalt, less blackstone this time. But it looks really cool. It looks really polished. No pun intended, because I'm literally using mostly polished blocks in here. I have hooked up our creeper farm and our sugarcane farms into here, so all the items are flowing in. I did transfer all the gunpowder up here just for easy access. I did not do that with the sugarcane, and it's coming in nicely. All the crazy amounts of double chests I had on the eastern wall, it's all still over there, so I might bring that over. Might not. There's tons of it. I have more than I'm going to need, and many, many, many more chests to store it in. This wall, I talked about it earlier, this room, this is honestly going to turn into my nether block storage room, because I am using so much blackstone, so much basalt, various other blocks. So I think I'm going to take this entire module and used blackstone, just all the blackstone. Maybe this last one will be like variants. That way I can store them a bit better. Basalt's probably going to take up a few of these, but then I'm also just thinking just netherrack and other nether blocks. Like you can see, I've got shroom lights hidden in the floor back there, and that'd be nice to store in here as well. I have not hooked up this room yet. This room is going to be our kelp and cactus. I just need to run a line from, the top of where our Furnace XP farm is down and get it over those item filters. And should be easy. Shouldn't take me too long. And then this is going to be where I have the return system. So if I have kelp blocks here and cactus here, I'm going to have a water stream right here that'll take it back into the system if I need, if I run really low on cactus, if I'm running the furnaces constantly like I have been, or if I have excess kelp and I don't feel like crafting more, I can just throw it into the system from here. And it should be great. It should be relatively easy. But getting this room down, getting these designs in, took a little while. Especially the archways here, just getting the right height and look to them. And honestly, this little bit here probably took me a good 45 minutes to get this looking right. And I'm very, very happy with it, but I might try to switch it out with the brick blocks just to see how it looks. It might clash a bit with so much polished in here, but I still have to finish this last roof in here, and I might test it out just to see. Now that I've got it down, it doesn't take me any time at all. So I might try it. If it doesn't work, I've only wasted 5 minutes. But I've probably got about a good 2 hours left in me to finish off all these water streams over here. So I've got to get one from there, down there, and then one from down there back into the... And honestly, that center roof bit, no idea what I'm doing there yet, and I've been racking my brain thinking about it. But, we'll see what happens. Cash is online right now, so maybe we'll just get together and play with blocks for a couple hours and see what happens. But yeah, I'll be back. Hopefully, I've got some of this stuff labeled too, because I literally have nothing in these right now. So I got to figure that all out too, and that's a very important thing, getting all those items where you want them and grouped together nicely for convenience sake. But I'll be back in a little bit and show you guys the final product. All complete, guys. All done. Our storage room looks fantastic, and I'll show it to you in a minute, but I wanted to explain this little system I was talking about earlier now that it's done. So you can see cactus right now. Cactus coming into the system. It's right there. Slowly but surely, it will make its way down to these filters over here. Kelp blocks are also going to come through this line, and it's fine because the filters will separate the things out. But what I was talking about is if I needed cactus and or kelp in the system, now I can take it from our bulk storage, throw it into one of these two water streams, cactus for that one and kelp block in that one, and it'll go right back into the bubble vaders, back up into the XP storage, which is great. It's fantastic. So this glass I'm standing on right here is actually going to help me in the future. This is the level the lava is going to be sitting at, and I needed this to make sure that our main storage room ceiling didn't go too high, because that was definitely a concern. So I had to figure out the height of this glass before we built the room itself. And this room looks fantastic. Cash and I worked together. Took us about 40 to 45 minutes, and it looks so good. It looks so good. I love this ceiling. Like, we had different ideas for what we wanted to do, and ultimately we just said, let's just build like a dome. So I built one circle, kind of that block up there, those polished. I just circled the room around. And then we just started kind of building a dome and then changing out blocks and detailing stuff. And honestly, one of my favorite builds I've ever done. It's so, it's a small build. It's not massive, but it looks so good in my opinion. Cash added in the crimson logs, and it added that splash of color, and we liked it so much we even added a bit of it into the other rooms over there. So you can just see that little bit of red in the background. And honestly, I think it looks great. It looks fantastic. Just that little bit of color really helps break up the darkness of the basalt and the blackstone, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy with the way this turned out, and I hope you guys are happy with it too, because it's all about you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. Lots of plans still for this season, so stay tuned, and until next time, you guys have a good one.